Then check this out.
Hey indie game fans, E3 2019 Day 1 was filled with your usual exciting announcements, game reviews, the occasional celebrity cameo, and of course, the first review of the next-gen Xbox codenamed Project Scarlet. On the indie game front, some news, reviews, and sizzle reels were shown off, so I'll cover those first, with more full-length trailers towards the back, and for brevity, I'll skip games that have already been released. As always, do use the timestamps to skip around as you please.
EA Games.
Challenge everything.
Going back to Day 0, so to speak, the festivities actually kicked off with EA Play, and while generally underwhelming, they did put out a video later talking about some indie games that are being put out under the EA Originals label, which you might recall covered games like Unravel or Theme. I'm a little reluctant to cover these, given that I'm assuming these studios do get support and funding from EA directly, which kind of warps the definition of indie, plus this usually means Origin exclusivity on PC as well. Anyway, there are a couple of neat looking ones here, but not much has really been shown. First up, Sea of Solitude, revealed at last year's EA Play, got a release date of 5th of July 2019. An exploration game with horror vibes, play as a young lady exploring an abandoned, flooded city filled with red-eye monsters on a journey to discover why she herself has turned into one of these. The focus is all on the theme of loneliness, which we all experience and could be interesting. Zoink Games announced Lost in Random, an action-adventure game where you play as a girl with a bow and a super cool art style. Glowmade, on the other hand, announced the action-adventure title Rust Heart, citing inspiration from The Iron Giant and touting it as a co-op game with a boy and a customizable giant robot. Microsoft's Xbox press conference was awesome, having learnt many things from last year's, and the focus was and is on the games, with over 60 titles shown off. On top of the aforementioned cameo and the bigger Xbox stuff, the other two pieces of news that stood out was number 1,
I'm honored today to announce that joining Xbox Studios is Double Fine Productions.
Microsoft buys Double Fine, the makers of Costume Quest, Broken Age, Psychonauts, Stacking, and Brutal Legend, now falls under the Xbox Game Studios banner, and while I'm happy to see an indie studio gain enough of a name for a big publisher to want to buy them, I'm always worried that acquisitions like this may limit the creativity and scope of their ambition, but Microsoft seems to be on the better side of things for now. However, that does mean Psychonauts 2 and Red are technically not indie anymore, but again, weird definitions and all that. Secondly, Xbox Game Pass comes to PC, and based on the indie game catalog, looks like an insane deal. So many great indie games, most of them launching day 1 on Game Pass, and for $10 a month, it really seems very attractive. Though of course, there's the whole mess between a subscription service and owning games in quotes, and the whole digital licensing mess on services like Steam, which I won't get into right now. A whole bunch of indie games got shown off, so check those out later on in the video. The Bethesda conference was next, which, unsurprisingly, did not have any indie game announcements, but check that out for your Doom, Wolfenstein, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Rage, and other news there. The final conference, in quotes, was the Devolver Digital Big Fancy Press Conference 2019, aka Devolver Direct. This beloved indie publisher has been knocking it out of the park with its selection of games and continues to poke fun at industry practices, telling its own meta-narrative involving on-screen Chief Synergy Officer Nina Strathers. It's a little gory and weird, but enjoyable nonetheless, and if you missed out on the previous ones, definitely check it out. On to the game releases then. Ori and the Will of the Wisps got a spanking new trailer and a release date of 11th February 2020. I previously resisted covering this since Moon Studios is technically a Microsoft first-party studio, but hey, it's a game that you guys have been asking for and I thought you guys might be interested in the date. A gorgeous Metroidvania following up from 2015's Ori and the Blind Forest, the gorgeous visuals and challenging platforming resulted in an extremely enjoyable game, so I want to see what's new here. Spiritfarer has you playing as a fairy master to the deceased, similar to Carrion of Greek mythology. Only here, everyone is an adorable animal. You can build your boat, care for your friends, and guide them into the afterlife, which seems like a real emotional journey. Nice to note that this is from Thunder Lotus Games, makers of Jotun and Sundered. RPG Time: The Legend of Wright is a hand-drawn RPG from Japanese indie developer Deskworks. I did see their game while browsing the Bit Summit website and thought it looked pretty neat. The art is very charming, and I always love a good RPG.
For you.
Okay.
You want to guess what it is?
This is an outfit for a newborn. You bought it this morning. You wanted to surprise me.
I'm sorry.
You're pregnant.
You know?
I know because you already gave it to me. This has happened before.
What are you talking about? What's going on?
Someone is coming. He's going to hurt us. He says you killed your father. I need to know what happened.
Why are you doing this? My father died.
Died of a heart attack?
No, I didn't have anything to do with...
Any second now, he's gonna knock on that door. Help me.
This isn't happening. This can't be happening.
Police, open up.
That's him.
Did you call the police?
We have a warrant. Please open the door.
I didn't do anything!
We're here to help.
Don't listen to him. I'm your only chance.
Open the door, right now.
You know me. I love you. You have to believe me.
Stop.
No.
You're under arrest.
No.
Hey!
You're home. What are you doing? Are you okay?
12 Minutes is a time loop thriller where you play as a husband who is trapped in a nightmare when a police detective breaks into your home, accuses your wife of murder and beats you to death. And then everything resets. Find the missing pieces of the puzzle and use it to break the loop. Way to the Woods is an adventure game where you play as a deer and a fawn and must travel through the abandoned human world to get home. Beautiful art, and I believe the developer is quite young and thus an inspiration. That static drive self-describes as Grand Theft Cthulhu, which immediately grabbed my attention, since you have to travel across the US and will encounter horrifying eldritch creatures. I've covered Star Renegades so many times by now, but this is a pixel art masterpiece engineered as a roguelite RPG. This comes to us from the makers of Halcyon 6, which is fantastic, so play that while waiting for this.
Milo, how long have we been friends?
Our entire lives.
Our whole entire lives. And so I want you to understand that I'm not blaming you for getting us killed and sent to hell.
What do you want?
2 dead orphans. And I'm not even saying how drinking Satan to get back home is the worst idea you've ever had.
Okay, well, Lola, what are you saying?
Afterparty is from the developer of Oxenfree and is a narrative adventure game in the same vein. Only this time, you play as a pair of best friends who find themselves about to spend an eternity in hell, but there's a loophole in that they can escape if they outdrink Satan himself. Awesome look.
I'm just saying, you should pace yourself.
Lola, can you get alcohol poisoning in hell?
のどかなイギリスの田舎町。訪れたのは借金まみれのドブ人生に嫌気がさした一人の写真家。彼女は世界一幸福な町で一発逆転を企んでいた。のはずが。
なんだよこのクソど田舎。今時ネットがない、携帯も圏外、スタバもない、ニューヨークスタイルピザが食べたい。ブリトーはどこ？ブラックタップのミルクシェイクを飲ませろ。羊が放し飼い。こいつら 何考えてるんだ。マジ腐れ地獄だぜ。今すぐニューヨークに帰らせろ。
Hidetaka Swery Suhiro is an enigmatic game developer behind cult classic games like Deadly Premonition and D4 Dark Dreams Don't Die. He founded a new studio in 2016, and The Good Life is their main project, where you play as a photographer and have to pay off her debts by taking photos of the happiest town in the world, with the twist that once a month, all the people in the town turn into cats and dogs at night.
ドリンキング、世界一幸福な町に住む世界一奇妙な住人たち。そしてこの町にはとてつもない秘密があった。人々は夜、犬、猫になる。ザ・グッドライフ。
Creature in the Well was showcased by Nintendo a little while back, and is an action-adventure dungeon crawler with the influence of pinball, and I love the mixing of genres. Riverbond is a voxel shoot and slash dungeon crawler that I have covered and looks pretty fun. Best of all, it is out as of right now. Until the End is a hauntingly beautiful 2D action game about a father's journey through the wilderness to get back to his family. I believe that there's a Souls-like influence and of course great art. Blazing Chrome is a throwback retro action platformer that certainly brings vibes of Contra. Felix the Reaper is a romantic comedy game about the life of death, and it's a puzzle game where you have to take out your targets while sticking to the shadows. I played the demo and quite liked it. Undermine is a roguelite action game about adventuring deep into the mine to discover relics and treasure, one of my most anticipated games in the genre. Supermarket Shriek is a co-op voice-controlled time trial racer where shrieking into the mic turns the cart your way. Sounds stupid but seems fun. Ikenfell is a turn-based tactical RPG about a group of magical students. Love the theme, and the RPG systems look very fun, and is another long in development title that I've been looking forward to, but no release date yet. Totem Teller was the one true new game to me and was quite a nice surprise. Described as an anti-narrative video game about storytelling, the glitchy storybook motif looks really cool, so I hope this is good. Night Call is a murder mystery game where you play as a taxi driver and have to earn a living while aiding the investigation. Not sure why a taxi driver is looking into these murders, but hey, interesting setup nonetheless. moving into the Devolver Digital games, we start with Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. Now this developer isn't exactly small and indie, but the game itself is a 100-player action game which is quite a clever take on the Battle Royale meme of 100 players dropping out of the sky. Outlast your opponents to get the crown.
Savvy, forward-thinking consumers like yourself should find their way to DevolverBootleg.com, which wholly unironically forwards to a Steam page for Devolver Bootleg. From there, potential users will have the opportunity to pay a small fee to download the Devolver Bootleg launcher.
Devolver Bootleg contains 8 original rip-offs of Devolver Digital games, including Hotline Milwaukee, Shooty Boots, Castlevania, and my favourite, Enter the Gungeon. I'm not sure how fully fleshed out these titles are, but 5 stars for being original. It is out right now.
6, and many more right from the Devolver Bootleg launcher.
Carrion is a reverse horror game where you play as the alien blob and must devour the humans that have imprisoned it. Great pixel art and lighting effects. The Messenger, Picnic Panic, is a free DLC for last year's critically acclaimed Ninja Gaiden-inspired action platformer and got a release date of 11th July 2019. Mixed up in all of this is that the Deadpool-esque My Friend Pedro got a release date of 20th June 2019, which is next week. Just love it.
All aboard the hype train. Choo-choo.
Introducing Enter the Gungeon, House of the Gundead. A collaboration between Dodge Roll, Griffin Aerotech, and Devolver Digital.
And finally, Enter the Gungeon, House of the Gundead is a light gun arcade game which is coming in 2020. Very cool and weird, and theoretically you can order the cabinet for $5,000. So that's day 1 for E3 2019. I'm not sure when I can get the recap out for the next couple of days, but stay tuned, and if you are new here, do subscribe to discover great indie games. For more upcoming indie games, check out the previous video or click on the recommended playlist, and I will see you after the jump.